Hi everyone, and welcome to Screams After Midnight. This is the horror movie podcast here on the Mild Fuzz Podcast Network. I am Peter Bradley, and I'm joined as always with Tim.
Hello, I am Tim.
You are Tim.
You're right.
How are you, Tim? You good?
Pete, I can't even begin to tell you how great I'm doing. Thank you so much for asking. I really appreciate it.
Good. Joseph's back this week.
Hello, I'm Kevin. Oh wait. No?
And Kevin's also back this week. Well, kind of.
Hi.
He's Kevin's camera is not working, so if you're listening to the audio, you don't give a shit. You're same as always. In fact, even better because he got a new mic, so he sounds better. But his camera's not working, so if you're watching the video, you're just seeing a static screen where he's meant to be.
Yes. Apparently, I can't keep technology in my hands. I break it.
But you do actually sound much better, I have to say. The sound quality is markedly improved.
Well, I think anything could be markedly improved since last week's or 2 weeks ago, 1.2 gigahertz, where I was using the onboard mic.
That was a bit of a shit show, yes. That was a bit of a shit show. So
I was listening to that episode and I almost threw my iPod out the car. I was so disgusted.
This is the horror movie show here in Mild Fuzz, and every week we talk about a horror movie from the past or the present. In this case, it's...
I'm always waiting for you one day to say, and the future.
I did it once. Were you not here that week? I said the future as well.
Probably not.
No. This one's pretty recent, so it's not quite the present, but near enough. It's a movie from last year that we missed, so it's a 2015 release. It's called Deathgasm. Yes, Deathgasm is the title of this one. And it's directed by Jason Lee Howden. It is a film that was made in New Zealand. And it is actually... I didn't actually know this before we watched it, but it's actually more of a horror comedy.
Yeah.
I went into this thinking it would just be a horror movie. That was not the case. But as always, full spoilers for the movie we're talking about. We always do that here so we can go into details. And we're going to get into it then. So, Deathgasm, basically... a teenager moves to a new school, and he's a bit of a goth, sort of rocker, metalhead kind of guy, and he befriends another metalhead kind of guy, and they start a band called Deathgasm. And unfortunately, much like Evil Dead, they find some music which, if played, will unleash the apocalypse, and it does, and they do, because they're idiots. So, that's the plot of this one. There's a lot of New Zealand accents, which I also didn't know before I watched this. I assumed this was American, and then it wasn't, but fair play. Now, me and Timmy watched this together, so I'm going to leave him till last year. Joseph, what did you think of Deathgasm?
Oh, I had fun with it. It wasn't great, but I would say that most of the laughs, they hit on point for me. I enjoyed the full ride.
Now, Kevin, I'm expecting you to have a slightly different opinion here. How did you feel about Deathgasm?
It was the antithesis of everything I like in horror. It was not to say that I despised it or anything, because I thought it was like, I thought in terms of like first time filmmaking, I thought it was okay. But I didn't enjoy it at all. I mean, it was over the top. It was gory. It was gruesome. It was crude. It was. I didn't like it. No, it wasn't my type of humor.
Oh, okay. So we've got some differing opinions. I actually fall kind of in between the two of you. I for me, it's kind of... I thought a lot of the jokes did work, but overall, I didn't think it was that great, and it's maybe a little bit forgettable. You know, because it really wants to be Evil Dead, maybe a little bit of Peter Jackson's early work, you know, like Dead Alive, and even, in fact, one of the guys is even wearing a Bad Taste t-shirt during the film. It very much wants to be in that mould. And sometimes it kind of hits there. Like, I think some of the humour is quite good, and it did make me laugh. And we'll get into some of the specific moments in a bit, but I don't know, the characters weren't really doing it for me.
Yeah.
No.
I didn't.
No.
Yeah, it was definitely weak in that side. Tim, what were your feelings on it?
Yeah, pretty similar. I like the premise, and generally the story for the most part. Uh, I thought it was good, and I thought like a lot of the gags worked well, but kind of like you said, like it's very clearly striving for like an Evil Dead um, type of movie, and it really doesn't get there. But at the same time, though, I can't really say that I didn't have fun. Like there was definitely stuff I liked. I think maybe the best way I was kind of thinking about earlier that I could maybe describe it is like, and actually they're two very different movies, but I'm going to compare it to a movie I just watched the other day that I really like called Turbo Kid, which I know you're a big fan of as well, Pete. But that's not a horror movie, but like when I was watching that movie, you can clearly see the influences, but it still does its own thing, and it doesn't really. It has like a lot of heart, and um, it kind of like goes above it, like what it's striving for, I guess. Um, while this, it feels more like a dude that was just kind of like, oh man, it'd be cool if this happened and then this happened. Oh man, and then what if like they had some dildos and stuff, and then like, oh, this would be a good
Yeah.
joke, and this, and it's like, oh yeah, that stuff is good. It can be funny like on its own as like a 2 minute little skit or something, but then combining it into one large cohesive movie, I don't think it worked as well.
Yeah, I think the characters and just the sort of the caliber of storytelling wasn't as high, so it didn't like I like this kind of movie, and Joseph listed a bunch of movies. I don't know what site it was on, possibly IMDb. Was it? Yeah.
I'm still looking at it.
Yeah. And they list like the 5 movies or whatever that you might like if you also like this, and everyone he listed, I like more than this.
Scout's Guide to Zombie Apocalypse, The Final Girls, We Are Still Here, Turbo Kid, as Tim's mentioned.
Yeah, I've not seen We Are Still Here, but the other 3 I do think are all better than this.
They are, and I would recommend We Are Still Here.
But I don't want to be too hard on it because it is fine. Like I think it's a fine little like horror comedy. It's just it's not one that I'll probably ever watch again. And I think one of the things that hurts it for me as well is just how it some like lower budget movies, and it really depends on how they shoot it. But this very much felt like a TV show. I think Tim mentioned this when we were watching it as well.
Oh yeah, especially in the beginning with the like narration and stuff.
Yeah, the narration and just the bright daylight scenes and all of it just felt a little bit less movie like, more made for TV looking.
Which I think I would actually give it a much like a lot more praise. Like if this was an original sci-fi movie, it'd be like, holy shit, like this is an unexpected treat, or like something like that. But yeah, like in terms of the movie, it didn't really feel quite up to I feel like movie standards.
Yeah. Getting away from the negativity for a bit, and that's coming from me who actually didn't like the film. I think one thing that I have to give a credit for is the effects, the sort of the visual effects. I really thought they were pretty good for what the budget was probably, and for what the whole film was. I thought they were like one of the effects were like one of my favorite things about it.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. The sort of violence and gore when it happened, it was usually over the top. It's usually pretty well done. I know both me and Tim squirmed when the bully cousin pulled out the earring, like just ripped it off his ear.
Yeah.
Yeah. I looked away during that part. I knew they were going to show it, so.
But like definitely if you again going back to movies like Evil Dead and Dead Alive and stuff, like if you like those kind of ridiculous scenes with mowing people down with chainsaws or lawnmowers, like there's definitely a lot of stuff like that to enjoy in this movie. So I think if like was at one point what he was killing was it his aunt and uncle with the chainsaw, and then like the cousin like walks right in and
He
just
just
instantly
slices his head off.
Oh,
Yeah.
that made me proper laugh actually, because yeah,
That's-
because he walks in, he slices his head off, and it's
Yeah.
like, I don't think he was possessed. He's like,
Sure
he
he
was.
yeah.
Sure,
that,
yes.
that was probably the best gag in the movie for me.
Hey
Yeah.
man, he said something about Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really funny actually, that moment. So there is some good laughs here. I mean, I don't regret watching it. Like,
Yeah, no,
Um,
definitely not.
when we get to the ratings, this should reflect this, but it's not a bad movie by any means. It's just not particularly great either. Like, it didn't stick with me when I'm like, oh, I'm going to so want to watch this again in a year, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's worth the one-time watch.
Yeah.
Obviously, the getting away from the horror aspects a little bit. The main sort of plot is the main guy. He's into this girl who, from the get go,
Is-
seems out of his league, but apparently is into metalheads, even though she doesn't like metal music.
That was
She
probably
just wants to be
the
a rebel.
yeah.
Which is what?
But
She just wants to be a rebel to her father. She even says, "My father would hate it if I got a tattoo."
Yeah, possibly.
He's obviously just the, "Hey, you're bad, boy."
I thought
Yeah.
I like the actress, but I thought her character was one of the weakest parts, just because like she was so like there was no depth to her at all. Like it seemed like she was just there to have a love interest and then a love triangle.
Yeah,
And,
like
like-
see when like she gave the other guy the note to give to him and he didn't do it and he just showed up
Yeah.
to tell her that he wasn't coming, and then like you just see them making out. It's like, what? She just, oh, he didn't come, so I might as well make it with him. Like, what?
Yeah, I thought that was really weird, and there was like no like she just instantly like liked the guy. Like there was no like really getting to know. Like they probably talked less than like 5 minutes before she was kind of like, oh, I like him, like
Yeah, well, she basically just runs into him and says, "Do you want to get an ice cream cone?" And then they're just sitting in the
Yeah.
park having an ice cream cone while he's decked out in like Kiss makeup.
which like I do like the idea of him having a love interest, and especially him being like a crazy goth and like her being so different. Like I think that's like a good dynamic. It's just that there was like nothing there that really led you to believe that it was plausible that these two would get together.
Well, if everybody in the town was like his cousin, I can see why she would go to somebody different.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely. But again, we didn't really get enough of her like character to kind of
Yeah, I know.
see that she's like that. I don't know. I just and again though, I mean, if you take the movie for what it is, I doubt most people are going into it looking for a good romance or something. So
Oh yeah, obviously it's just kind of a silly fun time, and it is fun. It's just I don't think it's a memorable fun.
I have a question for you guys. Are any of you guys into heavy metal?
No.
Slightly. I'm not really
Okay.
Well, it
know
depends-
so much about bands.
It depends what you mean by heavy metal.
The music genre. What the fuck do you think I mean?
Well, no, but metal's quite diverse. Like, there's a lot of different for instance,
All right.
one of the things this guy's wearing in this is a Trivium patch, and I quite like
Yeah.
Trivium. I really like Trivium actually. But there's other patches he was wearing that I didn't even recognise. So
Yeah.
put it that way.
Just-
I have to say I really hate. I can't really hate it, but I really find the whole metalhead culture embarrassing for the
I like
people.
pirate metal. Pirate metal's fun.
Is it like
Fuck off with your pirate metal.
oh god?
You're just
Yeah.
singing about going looking for treasure.
The fuck, does everything have a genre? Is there like Bigfoot metal and
There's
Pirate
fucking
metal is
tons of
also
them.
called Viking metal.
See, to be honest, there's so many different types of word you can put in front of metal, and it's an actual
Yeah.
genre that I stopped caring about like classifying it. I'm like, I don't even know what kind of metal I like. I'm just like, these are the bands I like. Go away.
I have a cousin who's into math metal.
I know there's like Flanders metal because there's that heavy metal Flanders band that came out last
Yeah.
year.
That's
is
right.
that a
Yeah.
genre though?
I
I
don't
thought that was
know.
just that one band.
Oh, by the way, Tim, I don't know if you know this, but there's a band called Austrian Death Machine, and
Okay.
all the songs are based off of lines from Arnold Schwarzenegger films.
Well, I don't know like if I like the music, but I like the intent. Okay.
Well, actually, if you look at the track listing for the CD, it's literally just like "I'll be back," "Hasta la vista, baby," "Who's your
not-
daddy and what does he do?" Just look at all these famous lines.
That's pretty awesome. Well, the only reason why I was asking is just because I was curious, since it is such a heavy metal influenced movie that I wonder if you're into that kind of thing. Because personally, I'm not, but if people did like that, if that might raise the enjoyment of the movie.
Well, yeah, I like Trivium. I like Killswitch Engage. I like In Flames. I like there's a bunch of metal bands I do. Like System of a Down's great, but I was never really a part of metal. Like I did have long hair when I was in high school actually, but that wasn't really to do with that. It was just because I had long hair. But putting on these over the top leather jackets and the makeup and like making blood packs and all that shit.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. It really is, and I think that it didn't really impact my enjoyment of it, but it made me cringe in quite a couple of places.
To be fair, I don't think that's any less embarrassing than like standard like football culture.
Well, I just want to
That's
say
true.
that
Well-
if you're a metalhead and you're offended, please direct your comments at Kevin, because I personally, although I do not embrace the culture, I respect it. I think it's a valid form of expression.
Yeah, I have
think
no problem with metalheads.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like the point I was making is that I never really did that.
Yeah,
However, Kevin's clearly bad mouthing you. So if you want to direct some hate at Momo Guy 123,
Yeah.
by all
If you-
means.
If you want to start a hate Kevin metal band,
Oh, I would buy every album.
you're lucky you can't see my face, Joseph.
and then
I am lucky. That's a horrible sight every week.
Kevin's really becoming one with the static.
It really is.
Static calls my name.
Actually, I like Nightwish and stuff like that. I like some symphonic metal. I believe that's fair. I could be wrong.
Okay.
So some metal fans are going to correct me and say, "No, it's not called that. It's called this." Like, I really don't care.
He's gonna flash his leather jacket. He's gonna shove his patches in your face. He's gonna say, "It's not called that, Peter."
Well, like,
That's metal
regardless,
fans
though, like, even though I don't like the music, I did think it kind of like fit the story well and stuff. Like, I like the idea of this kind of black hymn that can like summon demons and stuff, and
Can we talk about the villains for a minute, actually? Because these are like some of the most underdeveloped villains I've ever seen in my life. Right, so we get one scene where the two henchmen go back to the main boss guy, and he kills one of them for failing to do whatever. Right, and at the end of the scene, this woman's head pops up from under his desk, who's been giving him head. Right. And that's okay, fair enough. It was a kind of amusing end to the scene, right? That there was someone sucking his dick the entire time. Okay, fine, right? But then the next time we see them, it's like the end of Act 2. They show up, and they're sort of explaining what's about to happen, and then the woman just kills the guy and says, "Oh, I'm the one who wants the real power." I'm like, do you know what? This might be more effective if we'd had any other scene than her giving him head. But that's literally her entire character. She was giving him head earlier on, and now she's turned on him. Like, that's really thin. And then
The whole movie was thin, though.
True. But I mean, that felt especially thin to me.
Though I would like to mention though that was probably my second favorite gag in the movie when they're at the villain's lair or whatever, and that first guy dies, and he's like, "Not on the rug," like,
Do it again.
yeah. And
I really
he
like
makes
that part.
Yeah.
Just grab his head, put it back on the body, and
Yeah.
I think really what we're saying here, the impression I'm getting is that we all really enjoyed the funny moments and some of the blood and like splatter moments.
yes.
But the plot just and the characters and the writing just wasn't enough to hold it all together quite that
Yeah.
well.
Well,
It's just
I enjoyed a few of the jokes. Most of the jokes didn't land with me. It's not my type of humor. Crudeness.
Stop moving around, Kevin. You spend all this money on a new mic and you're going to ruin it by moving, making noises and all sorts.
Yeah.
Stay still. Yes,
just because no one can see you doesn't mean you can't. You can dance like no one's watching.
Yeah, I know. Stop doing the helicopter. Put it back in your pants and get on with the podcast. Thank you. Any other moments I want to point out? I kind of liked when they're sitting in the park eating their ice cream, and the girl says, "I don't like metal. I don't really like metal because it all just sounds like screaming." And he says, "It's not all like that." And then he lists about 10 genres, but it technically is just like that. I was like, Death metal's kind of like that, and screamo's kind of like that, and it just lists like 10 different.
I know, like screaming.
I thought that was amusing. So yeah, I mean the jokes are good for the most part. I mean some of them didn't hit for me, but most of them were generally pretty funny. But I kind of agree with Tim where it kind of feels like mostly sketch humor almost. I think the reason why that one where he kills the cousin, even though he's clearly not possessed, that's one of the few jokes where I feel like it relies on the fact that it's an entire movie to build up to that.
Yeah.
Because you know that he's a dick and he doesn't like him, and so when he does it, you kind of cheer and go, "Yeah, that's right." Just he was possessed. That's fine.
Yeah, I think it just, I think what it boils down to is like it's a pretty fun one-time watch, but yeah, there's not enough like charm to it to kind of go back and like watch it again, or at least not anytime soon.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing though. We had so many horror comedies last year. We didn't actually cover a lot of them on this show because I've been generally avoiding them on this show, but we talked about them on 1.21 gigawatts. And I really like Final Girls. Cooties was pretty damn fun.
Yeah, that was really good.
Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse was probably the lesser of those three, but was still pretty enjoyable. Like,
I still haven't seen that one.
I had fun with it.
Yeah, I liked it.
I think we're forgetting one we did cover, which was I think one of the best films of the year. And just not like it defied genre.
Say it.
Waiting.
Say it.
The Visit. Is M. Night Shyamalan not coming out with another film?
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's working on his next train wreck right now.
The Visit wasn't a train wreck. It was fun, but
You know, it was. But you know what?
It was a goddamn nuclear bomb.
Kevin's hyperbole with The Visit is so strong that I feel like I have to counterbalance it by like doing the opposite. Damn it.
I gave it an 8. It was fun. I liked it.
Well, I think, has anyone else got anything they want to add to Deathgasm before we get to scores?
Did you know that the main guy and girl were Power Rangers?
Oh yeah, the main guy was rated like the 7th best Power Ranger.
Wait, what?
He was the Red Power Ranger in Power Ranger Samurai.
Yeah.
I did not know this. I knew Rose McIver from iZombie was a Power Ranger. Well, they're in the same season because she's also from New Zealand, which would make sense if there was like a New Zealand season.
I don't think she was in the Samurai one.
Probably not then. Maybe it's just a thing that maybe they get cheap actors from Australia.
But she was in the same one as the guy on Jessica Jones.
Right, okay. These aren't real Power Rangers though. Real Power Rangers are Mighty Morphin kinds.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay, right. So, yeah, she was the Red Samurai Ranger. Interesting.
Oh, yeah, she was. I got mixed up.
Very, very interesting. Yeah. I actually I thought she was probably the best actor in the movie, but like Tim said, her character wasn't really given a whole lot of depth or much to do.
Yeah, like I liked her. I wanted to see more of her, but yeah, it's just.
Oh, I bet you did.
Come on, Pete. Don't be like that.
What? Truthful?
Come on, man.
These hard hitting truth bombs. All right, let's get to ratings. So I think naturally we have to do this 10 dildos, out of 10 dildos. So, since the deeply religious parents ended up being sex fiends with like a whole collection of dildos, including, by the way, I mentioned this to Tim when we were watching it, but one of the dildos they had was a double-ended dildo, which I thought was very weird for a straight couple to own a double-ended dildo. But I can only assume that the gentleman in the party,
Maybe it was like that scene
assumption.
from maybe it was like that scene from The Lady and the Tramp, where like they get like the spaghetti.
just with butts.
Yeah, ass to ass.
Ass to ass.
All right, how many dildos out of 10? Joseph.
I would probably give it 6.5 dildos out of 10.
Interesting. Kevin, how many dildos out of 10?
I'm gonna say I did like parts of it, but most of it just felt uneven or not my type of humor or underdeveloped or whatnot. So I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Timmy.
Well, first just to mention, we don't really talk about it much, but the dildos were um, that was kind of a funny scene. Just in
Well, when they came out the door and one of them swinging anal
yeah,
beads and the other one's like flying dildos around. Yeah.
yeah. I feel like it went on a little too long, but it's a funny gag. But I'm actually gonna mirror Joseph and give it a 6.5. And again, just emphasize, it is a fun watch. You probably yeah, but probably don't need to rush out and buy it. But if it's ever streaming, it's a good streaming movie. I feel like.
Get some popcorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go pretty close to that. I'm going to give it a 6 dildos out of 10. Which I say it's fine. It's enjoyable for what it is. It's the humor mostly works. The violence is mostly good. It just never had enough charm outside of that to. Because I feel like we've criticised the story and the characters a lot, and we could say that about a lot of horror movies, which I probably like more than this one. But I think the key thing that's missing from the rest of it's maybe the charm to make it a bit more endearing. So. But
It
yeah.
was one of the weakest of the horror comedies, as you said. We had so many, and it definitely is the most forgettable.
Yeah, we had like 4 or 5 in 2015. Now I think
That's another thing. If it was maybe like a kind of little island in the, a little oasis in a drought of horror comedies, like if you hadn't maybe seen so many last year, it might stood out a little more. But yeah, when you compare it to some of the other ones.
I thought you were going to make a joke about it being in New Zealand there for a second.
Why would I ever joke about where someone's from, Pete? You think that's funny?
Just because you started off and said it was a little island somewhere, I was like... Anyway.
Could have been Ireland.
Well,
The only island that matters.
Aye, sure. Actually, has there been any Irish horror films? We'll have to try and find one so we can mock it and make Kevin cry.
Is Black
we do-
Sheep Irish?
Nah, that's Australian.
Really?
Yeah.
No, they all sound the same to me.
I'm sure sci-fi has
Oh, I wanted to direct you to like 30 seconds ago where Tim said I would never make fun of where somewhere is from, and then now, oh, they all sound the same to me. How dare you? How dare you, sir?
They're on the opposite
I'm sure
sides of the
sci-fi has a
earth.
banshee.
All right, okay. So yeah, that's Deathgasm.
Great name, by the way.
It's a good title. I'll give it that. Like, I instantly wanted to see it based on the title. So that's Deathgasm, and we'll be back next week with something else. We're not quite getting to the new releases for 2016 yet because they're waiting to come out on the UK. They're out towards the end of February. So, The Boy in the Forest are coming, but they'll be a few weeks away yet. So we'll have something else next week. So tune in for that. Of course, let us know what you thought below in the comments if you're on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, you can email us, mailedfuzz@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at mild_fuzz. And of course, you can find the rest of us in various places. Kevin, where can the good people find you and possibly your face?
You can find me on Twitter, but you won't find my face there. At MomoGuy123. You can find me on Letterboxd, but again, you won't find my face there. At MomoGuy123. Well, you can't really find my face anywhere other than here.
Yes.
Usually. Why are you... Don't...
I said thank goodness.
Kevin, stop blowing into the mic.
Alright.
It
Sorry.
sounds awful. God damn it, it's like working with a 6-year-old. Joseph, where can people find you?
JColor_93 on Twitter and on Letterboxd.
Alright, that's great. Timmy, where can people find you?
Any social media stuff at Tim Vargulish, and you can check out my comic book stuff at facebook.com/goatmancomics.
Cool. You can find me on social media at Wibble89. You can also find me in a bunch of other shows here on the Mild Fuzz Podcast Network. Of course, if you're on YouTube, you're on the Movies channel. You can also find the regular movie stuff here, 1.21 gigawatts. We do a bunch of comic book movies, sci-fi movies, and everything in between, really. So you can check all that out.
Sometimes we just have topics.
Sometimes we just have topics. This week, me and Tim and the guys just talked about what makes a classic, and we had a nice little debate because there was no news this week to talk about it, so we had to just make up some topics. And yeah, of course that's on the movies channel, but you can also check out the TV channel. All the weekly TV reviews of a bunch of different shows, and the video game stuff, of course, is on the video games channel. And you can even watch the video games podcast live every Saturday on Twitch. So,
I'm even in the chat of that sometimes.
Yeah, and plenty of that stuff you can check out. Of course, all of that's also on iTunes and Stitcher, so you can get the audio versions. But if you don't care about any of that, you just want your horror movies, that's fine too. Keep it here. We're happy to have you. So, yeah. Hopefully next week we can actually see Kevin.
Yes, hopefully.
That's,
Joseph might argue.
So, Kevin, that's me saying you're going to buy a webcam before next week.
If I can't get Skype to work, then yes, I will.
Yes, that's fair. Yes. I'm doing the order live on the show so that people know you've had the gauntlet thrown down. But yeah, that's us, guys. So thanks very much for watching or listening. Keep watching scary films, and we'll see you next week.